Hello, this is BearlyThereMangas, and if you can't already tell, different shirt. This is editing me of the video. I found out that, a few minutes into the video that I didn't have the mic close to my mouth, so you couldn't hear any of it, so I gotta record all this again. Great, isn't it? Well, as I was about to say, this is my thoughts and reviews on Zelda, Majora's Mask and Link to the Past Legendary Edition. I love this book. Guys, you have no idea. This is a great thing. If you're a fan of Zelda and you played some of the games in the past, this is probably a good you might want to pick up. Now, I would prefer it if it was more of a hardcover or a hard book than rather this paperback flimsy, but this book is gorgeous. It is just pretty. I absolutely love it with the golden symbol on here. The front has this artistic feel to it. But again, I would rather this have been a hard edition, since this is a legendary edition. I thought they would make this in hardback, but this is some of the prettiest books I got, especially if you want to have this just as a display piece or just a shelf piece. This is a great one. But if you're a fan of the games, you played it like I have, because I played it quite a few times, this is probably going to be a book that you need to pick up. Of course, I'm a real big fan. I even 3D printed this thing a while back because I'm just such a big fan of the series. 3D printed on my Creality printers, and it's in 6 pieces, but I love this thing. I'm quite proud of it, how it came out, how it looked. Just a little small, but it'll do the trick. I absolutely love the Zelda games, and Majora's Mask is one of my all-time favorite to this day. Breath of the Wild is still pretty good. Now, if you've already played the Majora's Mask or even the Link to the Past, you get a little bit more details in this story, and I think it's probably, pretty great, but they do speed up a few parts in the story. It does give a little bit more complex view and a little bit more detailed insight for what Zelda and all the other characters were going throughout the story than the game's trying to rush through it. It gives you a little bit more details rather than the game where you're just playing through the story. It gives you more of an in-depth of the characters, like I said, which doesn't make none of it bad, because I love the grittiness. I love a little bit of darkness to it. It's a little bit more mature in that sense, if you're understanding the undertones of the story, and you get to see a little more of the characters living through the harshness of reality that is their current days. And the story kind of, has that dark side, kind of like Twilight Princess. So if you like Twilight Princess, you probably should like Majora's Mask, and at least I think you would. But Majora's Mask, if you look into the details and you really pay attention with the story is telling you, the artist and writer of the story was going through some hard times at that time, and has the 12 stages of grief in this book, or in the game, telling you the 12 stages. If you didn't know about that one, you can just look it up yourself. But let's go over here. Let's first start off with how the story is. Link is now looking for his old friend Navi that's gone missing after he saved the future timeline of the Hyrulean from Ganondorf. He went back in the past and can't find Navi. And at the very beginning, he's going to a certain town where he meets up with a person that he's sparred with before, but no one is buying that this little boy is this master swordsman named Link. And he, of course, spars with all of them and beats them, but then, shortly afterwards leaves the town to go keep on furthering, keep on looking for where Navi may be. And while he's looking for his little fairy friend, he runs across 2 little fairies that scare and spook his horse. He gets knocked off and knocked unconscious for a couple of seconds, and while he's doing that, a little boy by the name of Skull Kid, that is friends with these 2 fairies, comes out in his little playful way and steals Link's ocarina that he got from the princess as a bit of a mark that his, who he said who he is because of the mark and the crest on this ocarina. He chases this down. Now, this Skull Kid has a mask on him, which he gets from the very beginning from a curious, not evil mask salesman that tells the kid that this mask can grant him any wish he desires, but it comes at a price, a curse, and a bit of a mischief and world-ending things. But the kid, of course, being Skull Kid, if anybody knows the game from the game, he's kind of a bad child, and he'll get what he wants and play tricks on many people. And he took the mask, and the salesmen were able to stop him from taking it, and he dons the mask, and then now the mask is taking control of him. And this kid is doing a bunch of evil things and causing havoc to the world and everybody around him. Well, while Link chases the boy down, and he finds himself falling down a tree where the Skull Kid was waiting for him. then puts a curse on Link into a little tiny I forget what their names are. I'm not, I'm not trying to purposely remember their names are. The Deku kid, I believe that's what they're called, and turns him into one. And now Link can't figure out how to get the skin off of his body or turn back to his usual self. So he chases the skull kid down, finds himself in a strange clock tower. Leaving the clock tower, he's greeted and sees a festival getting on the ways, and everything's about to start up. And he meets a young girl, saves him from a dog attacking him, and takes care of her back to the inn. She bandages him up a little bit, tells her about her problems, that she can't find her fiance anywhere. And that's when the Skull Kid turns up again to greet him and tell him once more that he is pretty much screwed, and he's gonna destroy the world with the moon. And that the moon will come down in 3 days. But he decides, he goes, haha, no it's not, it's coming down now. And he bronzes down the world, and he destroys. But some reason the god of time rewinds time, brings back Link back to his usual self, but he needs to get the ocarina. I'm not gonna go any further than that, because if you want to know more about it, be sure to read it. It's a great story. I really do enjoy the story. I love the game. It goes through a very bit of a timey-wimey stuff, but I think the time stuff is pretty nice. I do like the stories, all the stories and all the events he comes about, and it goes through the story and goes through it. So they go through most of the game in the story or in this book, but they do kind of rush you a little bit, but I'll talk about that in the scoring. So let's go ahead and talk about the cast of the book. Now for the characters. I'm gonna put 2 scores for this one. For the characters of the Majora's Mask, I really like the Majora's Mask. I've always did like the Majora's Mask, and for the original version being the game, right? It being 1-to-1, it is very close to one another. I would dare say this is, if you would go from the game to book, it's staying true to that story, right? It's true to that story. I like the story. I like the characters. I like the emotions and a sense of dread and a sense of like people like, denial and the emotions of losing someone and going through all the emotions of loss, if you know what those are. I enjoyed that, and the characters brought that about, and everybody's having this life that they're trying to live before things goes haywire. Even if some people deny it, some people are almost willing to just accept it, and some people are oblivious. It is all over the place. So when it comes to this one, if you want to say story wise, right, or characters from the game to this, if you like the game, it is a solid 10. Solid 10. I love it. I love these characters. They're following the story. They're following the original game. The characters are all here. That is great. Now, if you call it from a first-time reader, the characters to a first-time reader might be an 8. That's just the truth of it. If you don't know anything about the original source, you didn't play the game and you're not really a big fan of the Zelda franchise, you might not find that characters that appealing. You might say it's an 8. That's totally reasonable. I can get that and behind that. But being that it's one of my favorite Zeldas, and I really like the story and the characters in it, so yeah, I'm gonna give it a 10. Yeah, I think it's perfect from 1-to-1. Oh yeah, and I forgot. For characters for the second story, I give that a 9. It not my favorite. Different character. Link is Link. Now, the art. Art has that bit of that old school feel, right? It still feels like Zelda and doesn't really feel like a manga, right? It doesn't feel like a manga. Like, you can definitely tell this is Nintendo's art style, and it has that old school style to it that kind of reminds me of like some 90s cartoon styling of it at times, especially the second portion of it. It definitely has even more of a 90s feel, if you catch my drift. Sometimes single shading, not double shading or triple shading, meaning, light shade, a fade shade, or a dark. There's sometimes just all one shade, or all one tone. Like they get a little lazy in this, and sometimes they don't show the backgrounds. It's the artist is definitely keeping that feel, though, that this is still of his time. Now, the original book of this probably was from back then. I don't remember. If I can figure it out when the original stories were written, I'll put it down here somewhere so you can have a better idea for that. So it's not that you don't feel like you're reading a Zelda book, right? It definitely feels like this is the Zelda world that a lot of us has gone play through. A lot of us have done. A lot of us have childhood memories and fondness for. So it definitely sticks to that, and I appreciate that. Now, is every single page and every single thing a masterpiece? No, it's not. There's some bland moments. There's some nice artistic moment, but there's nothing really there's nothing in this book that will make you say, wow, that was sick. It does its part, but it's not breaking your eyes. Like, oh my God, it's just, oh, there's so much eye candy in here. No, that's not eye candy. So I give it a solid 8 for the art. But some people might say, hey, I love this old school art, and this would be a 9 or a 10 for you, but good for you. But I'll give it an 8. So, all right, next story. Now, I've said before, I really like the story. I really do. And I love the story for the Majora's Mask. While it is one-to-one to the game in a lot of ways, there's definitely a bit of expediency or hastening in the story to try to get through as much materials of the game as fast as they can in this manga. That really takes away a lot of things. And for one thing, actually, I'll give you 2 examples. One example, sometimes when they kill bosses in this story, sometimes the bosses are like one shot and they're dead, right? Or at least it's depicted as almost like Link is like, hey, buck up, and just swings and it's gone. It's defeated. It doesn't go in the part. He doesn't go to a dungeon, right, where he finds the boss. He doesn't go through the dungeon, have the trials, and he doesn't go through the puzzles. He doesn't go through none of that's there. And one boss just like, hey, you're here, I'm coming to you, get ready, let's get it. And that's like, Link goes to them, beats them, saves or gets whoever, and fights the boss. It's supposed to be an epic fight. No, that's not here. That's not in this book, unfortunately. And I believe that takes away from the story because the pacing is hastened. I don't like the hasten. So, I give it a 7. 7.5. 7.5. Let's say 7.5. It's not that as bad. Just, bro, you're hastening too much. What I love. And that is, in my opinion, not a good way. I think they could have done the whole story, the whole book. The book for the Majora's Mask literally ends. Yeah, literally ends right there. There's Majora's Mask. There's Link to the Past. So it's literally half the book, literally. So if they would have done the rest of the book, Majora's Mask, I believe they could have allowed for that rest of that story to fill in for the rest of the book, but they didn't, and that to me is a bit of unfortunate. But I'm going to be reading The Twilight Princess is a freaking 11 volumes or 12 volumes or more. Why cannot Majora's have that many volumes? Honestly, why is I know a lot of people love Twilight Princess, and I do too, but man, I feel like that one got a lot more appreciation being how long it is compared to this one. Now, for the other story, I'm not a big fan of the Links to the Past. I think it was nice, it was okay, but it was definitely not one of my favorites. And honestly, being that I was a teenager, a kid, I'm not quite sure when that game came out when I was younger, I didn't really pay attention to the story. So honestly, it's nice to read over the story and actually for like, oh, that was what's happening. That's what happened in the game. That's one of the original wizards or sorcerers. In Ganondorf, I like that, even though I already knew some of the information already. I did, but this was both of them. Again, both of them tie sometimes into stories that the games didn't have time or didn't go into details that this book went through. But still, the Majora's Mask part, it definitely skipped over a lot of stuff, and I was like, I would like to have seen that in this book too. Just to, yeah, they added a few things there, but it wasn't anything that was like, holy wow. Sorry. But anyways, Link to the Past. So I actually enjoyed that one. That was a lot of fun. That was nice. I guess since I was going there with less blinders on, you would probably say, I was able to have a more broad and more wide view of the story and actually be able to enjoy that a little bit more. So I give that one an 8. Again, it's not that it's a story just written better. It's just I was able to, for someone that didn't really know or remember a lot of stuff of that game, it was nice to be able to dive into the story a little bit with with this book. It was just pleasurable. It wasn't perfect, a little cringy in there, but definitely passed. Next one, transformative. Probably the hardest one for me to really give a gauge on this one, just because this book is a 2-part book. Love the art style, both of the versions of them. I even have the other one, which I will be doing reviews on. So if you want to see reviews on this one, stay tuned. I will be doing reviews on it. But the transformative of this book, again, I don't quite remember when this book or the original versions of these books came out. I didn't know about them and I didn't pick them up, but this came out and I was like, yeah, sure. So it doesn't feel like to me that this is, even though it is a manga based off of a video game, and the video game is very popularized, this did not blow up in the views of like, I heard all about this. This was all over when I heard about manga. Like, it was like a must read, a must get. And it didn't really bring, as far as I'm aware, this book did not make Zelda more popular. The game franchise didn't, this not cement it even more. So to me, this was not really transformative to the point where they even gone to the point of making, like I said, like new stories, right? That would be transformative. Like, hey, here's a new story of Zelda that's not even in a game. Here's a whole book about Majora's Mask and a bunch of details you didn't know about, and then some, right? It didn't break it open to even to very knowledgeable fans of a certain story and game. I beat Majora's Mask so many times, and I still, again, but still, I don't remember some things. I can't remember everything. Goodness gracious, don't try to try quiz me here. But I do feel like that this wasn't making everybody that's not a Zelda fan really break into the franchise because of this book, because of this manga. Now, there may be something out there that's like, hey, I didn't know anything about Zelda until I read this manga. I loved it, and I picked up the next game. My wife didn't even know anything about Zelda until Breath of the Wild. And then when she played Breath of the Wild, she grabbed my books and she started reading herself. She read both of them, and she liked them. But she will not go and play the games, the games from which these books are from. She will not. She only touches Breath of the Wild, and far from me to tell her that she's wrong and she should go play the other ones. So, I don't think this is transformative in any least, but it is nice to see a beloved franchise that I enjoy, beloved story that I enjoy, turn into a manga. That's my okay, I'm happy. You didn't break the mold. You didn't. So I'm gonna give it a 5. Sorry if anybody's like, oh my god, this book was life-changing to me. This really broke me into the Zelda franchise or broke me into manga. Sure, okay. If that's what you got, I'm giving it a 5 because this does not make me want to buy every single manga that had to do with Zelda. This did not make me want me to buy a new manga of other franchise written by the same person. Now, my total score, let's see, it's always hard. 10, 8.5, Oh, and Transforming of the Other story too. Sorry, I keep forgetting like the other because there's 2 books in this thing. Transform the other one, or yeah, I also give it a 5. Again, it didn't break that most, so both of them were 5. So I would say one of them gets a 8, and one of them gets a 8.5. I will say, if that my memory serves, I'll put the score down there somewhere so y'all can actually see the actual rates. Because again, I'm not doing this with paper and pen. I'm just doing it from the head. And so, if my scoring from my head is wrong, I will correct myself and do a little edit real quick. So, yeah. So that's my thoughts and reviews on this manga. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you're looking forward to seeing the other one. I will be reading the Twilight Princess, but unfortunately, there is no thick book of just the Twilight Princess, so I can't just go purchase that. And you know, if I don't get more views on these videos, let me hit 1,000. We're reaching for 1,000 people. We're barely hitting 400. I'd pretty appreciate hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below, because YouTube doesn't care if you watch. They just care if you react to the video or actually interact with the video. That's all they care about. So if you want me to help me get all the Twilight books so I can read them and give you thoughts and reviews whether or not you should buy them, which if you're a Zelda fan, I recommend buy. I'm sorry, I recommend buy. If you're a Zelda fan and you're okay with reading. Not everybody's reading. It's like, I'd rather just play the game. That's not always an option, unfortunately. That is not always an option. So yeah, I would say if you like manga and you like Zelda, yeah, get them. They're a good time. They're very much a good time. So that will be it. I would appreciate it for those who stick around. Hit the like button, hit the like comment down below. I always say this before, but as always, have a good day, have a good night, have a good life. Much love, y'all. Bye.